Hey guys, welcome back for another video. I've got another dash cam for you. This one I think is going to be very popular because we have a solid middle of the road candidate here. This is going to tick what I think most people are going to want. You're going to get all the features you need and a lot of features that you're going to want. A lot of optional stuff built in. Now this is a combo package. This is the VIOFO, I think that's how you pronounce the name, A129 Plus Duo package. Duo meaning you get a front and rear camera, plus you get some optional things already in the package to save you some money. We're gonna go through it here. I'll show you the major features. Then we're gonna throw it in the car, do some tests day and night. We'll show you the audio and video quality, and we'll see if it's something you're interested in. First of all, thank you for sending this in to VIOFO. I will have links down below to save you some money if it turns out to be something you are interested in. So first of all, we've got the box here. I'm just gonna run down these features real quick. It's a QHD and FHD package. QHD is in between 1080p and 4K, and that's what you're getting on the main camera. And then the rear-facing camera is 1080p. That's very common in multicam systems. It's about the limit that you have writing to a single card with multiple cameras. So they have to maximize the possible quality going from multiple streams into a card. So we're getting the best we can right there. Uses the same great Sony sensor that most other cameras are using. So we're gonna have great night vision and all of that. High quality glass lenses. We have the now pretty standard wedge design. This sticks to your windshield. On the inside, we've got a tilting camera, and facing you is a 2-inch HD screen. We've got full button controls, so you don't need to control this or use it with the app. You can use the app to set it up once. That's what I typically do. And then from there, bam, you've got your camera all set and ready to go. Now they do have an optional GPS module. However, it's included in this kit. They do sell just the camera itself, the bare bones basic, and you can add the rear camera, you can add the GPS module, but if you do that, you're gonna be spending a lot more money. So if you get this package, you get everything in one. Now the GPS module takes the place of the standard windshield mount, and it is a quick release, so this just sticks to the windshield. If you wanna move this from vehicle to vehicle, you just add a regular mount or GPS module, and this just snaps on in place and you're good to go. Super easy. Got card slot and microphone on the back. That's a reset button. Then we've got a USB power that isn't used if you have the GPS module in, because the power is then on the GPS module. So this is our power port, which would be facing up in the car. And then we've got our rear camera connection and then an AV breakout connection. That's kind of strange. You insert a 3.5mm TRRS connector and that'll go to a left, right, and composite video and audio out like an old TV. Never seen that before. Can't imagine it's going to be very needed for most people. That's it for the main camera. For the rear view camera, totally simple single cord connection that will run through the car to the main to power it and record. And then another tilting camera so you can stick this in your rear window and aim it however you need to. And that's it for this little guy. This is cool. I wasn't sure what it was. It is a micro SD adapter. So if you don't have a micro SD reader built into your computer, here you go. Just stick it into any USB port and you've got a little reader so you can take the card out and very quickly transfer your files over. You can also connect direct to your app via your phone or tablet over Wi-Fi and transfer files that way. And this goes for any camera, but that is the slowest possible way. That's good if you're on the accident scene, right? And you need to pull a footage. Maybe you need to text it to somebody and you witnessed their accident, something like that. Yes, of course, connect to your Wi-Fi, pull the file down, text it to them, whatever you need to do. But if you're looking for, a lot of footage, or you have to edit something or find the right point or whatever, you need to pull the card out and put it in your computer because it is 100 times faster to do that. They give you a little plastic wedgie here, and this is for getting into the nooks and crannies of your car to run your wires. Very handy. I have so many of these and they come in so handy, and they're nice and plastic so they don't scratch anything. That's the important part. Some cable clips here. Come in very handy to keep your wires tied down. We've got the power. This is nice. It's not a one-piece cord. It's simply a 12-volt cigarette type adapter with two USB power outs. And then the cable itself for power is a micro USB. I would have liked to see USB-C, but at least it's a separate cable. So if you have one that's shorter you want to use, and you don't want to tuck in the bunch of wires, you can do that. Or if you need to power something else, you don't lose your power port because they give you two. So that's cool. And then the long cable run out to the rear cam. Something else of note, this cable, and I've seen this recently in other cameras, but they were the power port. This data cable and, well, I guess power going to the rear cable is super thick. It's not especially pliable. This could definitely be tough to get around tight corners if you're going plastic to plastic in some trim in cars. I can think of several situations where I would have had trouble if I didn't have a real thin cable. So just note that. It's not a deal breaker or anything, but it's unusual. It's certainly not the norm, and it's a micro USB as well there. Not such a big deal on the rear camera to not have a reversible cable, but on the front these days, that is quite important. So you don't have your cable running the wrong way depending on where you want to run it, or maybe up or down, you know, just to keep your cables looking clean. And then real quickly, this is a brand new product that they wanted me to try. These are basically adhesive films. They go on the outside of your car, on the front and rear. They're not blue, this is just a protective film. They're clear. Think of them as temporary Rain-X. So if you're not already applying Rain-X regularly to your car, or if you don't have your glass ceramic coated, I do, this is a great option, because if you have your dash cam mounted and you're in an environment where it's really rainy, dirty, dusty, etc., you want a clear picture. But if your windshield is gunky because you don't have some kind of coating on it, you're not going to get a great picture. This helps keep it cleaner than it would. So your water is going to sheet off, it's not going to build up, and it's definitely going to help it stay a lot cleaner shooting through this than if you just had a regular uncoated windshield. And it's only 10 bucks for two of these, covers your front and rear, so that's cool. They also give you a direct short USB cable, and you can plug directly into your camera to transfer files. If you don't have a card reader and you don't have this handy, you can do it this way. And they give you, of course, some extra adhesives for your camera. And the other thing in the box is, of course, the manual, which just goes over everything I said and gives you quick links to install the apps. So let's go ahead and throw this in the car. We'll do some tests. Just a quick install note, one disadvantage to this type of cable connection, you can't put the camera directly up against a corner because you need enough space to get that cable in, because it's a top connection. It's not the best design in the world. A 90 degree would be better, or a side mount would be better, like my other one over here. The front install is pretty standard, although like I said before, the wires are pretty thick and they do stick out. So you can definitely run them and clean them up, but it's not as easy as smaller designs, but the install is very straightforward. For a couple hours from sunset, we've got bright areas, we've got shaded areas, got lots of detail. This is the normal high density recording test I like to do, because this is going to be as bad as it gets as far as compression and writing to the camera. I went into the app, I set all the settings at maximum. I've got HDR turned on, I've got bitrate set to high, so everything should be as good as it could possibly be. Now the options for the GPS, you can either display nothing, you can display your speed overlay, and you can also display coordinates or a combination thereof. And you can also use those on a moving map. So it's got a lot of stuff. Again, great for families, kids. Well, you definitely want to keep track of them, and that's a real easy way to do it, let me tell you. You can set virtually all of the settings in the unit itself just through the settings menu on the front. So again, you don't need to use the app for anything routine, and really I didn't even need it for setup. There wasn't any firmware update available. The only thing you may want to do is change its Wi-Fi password with the app. Other than that, you can set everything directly on the device. And I think I mentioned before that this does have optional polarizing filters. I would definitely recommend picking those up no matter what camera you go with, if it's available for the camera, because that will help with dashboard and front windshield reflections, especially going into the sun. Depends on the time of day, depends on where you are in the country. Here in Florida, it's a definite problem, but the polarizing filter completely negates that. Now I'll put over the video here any notes I have that I found during editing. Oftentimes, if there's an issue with the exposure or the audio levels or anything like that, I don't know until I get it back and I'm actually at the computer looking at the raw footage. So I'll note anything I find. If I don't have a note, that means there's nothing unusual, which is good. So obviously here we are at night. We're going to take it through this slow street. We'll go into a well-lit parking lot. We'll take it out on the main road so you can just see the video quality detail. One thing I wanted to note, this has the optional parking mode like most cams do. It does require the optional extra parking cable, which requires you to specifically hardwire it into your fuse box. Again, fuse tabs, nothing permanent. I'll put links down to everything compatible down below. And that protects against two different things. This does have the standard impact detection, so if you're parked and somebody bumps into your car, it will save the video just prior and after whatever the event is. It also has motion detection, so it can, if you enable it, also let you know if something is moving in camera range while your vehicle is parked. So that may be helpful in other situations where maybe you just want to capture if somebody's around your car but not actually hitting it. Either way, it'll record and save the events, and that way you're protected. Now there is a drawback to that where some brand new vehicles are very voltage sensitive. That isn't a guarantee to work in all vehicles, so your mileage may vary there. And of course you can also just hardwire it to the fuse panel and work with the car on. That's the way I prefer it. I don't have the need for a parking mode, so I have it just on with the car. And that's the same as plugging into your cigarette lighter adapter or USB port in a car. Same kind of thing. It'll power on with the car, power off automatically. Some cars have a little bit of time delay. For example, my system will stay on for 10 minutes after the car is off, so I get a little bit of extra time there automatically. We're here in a well-lit parking lot. Everything should be crystal clear, just like daytime. One last thing I want to note is the delay time. Some cameras come on extremely quickly. Those tend to be the lesser featured cameras where you start the car and it's recording in the blink of an eye. This one has about a 7-second delay from the time it gets power to the time it's recording and you can safely roll out. It'll just sit there booting during that time. You don't have to do anything, but just know for that first 7 seconds, you're not going to have anything recorded. And we'll just quickly run out here, run down the road at highway speeds. At night, worst case scenario, shouldn't be any bright street lights, so we should be able to see actual low light capability, what kind of detail we can see. I'll try to, I don't know if I can catch it, but we'll see if we can get up that car up there. I'm not gonna ridiculously speed, so I don't know if I will or not. See how accurate the GPS here is. I am at 60, 61, 60, so that'll see how accurate it is. It should be dead on. I mean, it's GPS. It's going to be really darn close either way. And of course, this has emergency impact protection, so if you ever do get in a crash, it will auto lock whatever event is going on. And both the normal impact detection and parking mode impact detection have separate sensitivities. That's important. I've had some dash cams that just had an on-off toggle, and it was ridiculously annoying because it would constantly be going off like you got in an accident if you just went over a bump or a speed bump or even braked really hard. So it's always good to have that adjustability. This has high, medium, and low for those settings. And of course, lots of things affect what your best setting is going to be, where it's mounted, exactly how it's mounted, your suspension of the car, the tire pressure. I mean, everything comes into play. So if you find yourself getting false locks, you definitely want to just turn that down. So it's always good to have that feature. All right, so there you go. Get some sprinkler action, free car wash. That's it. Hope it helps. We'll see you next time.